Hi, I'm Greg Stevens, the CEO of Vara, and I'm really pleased that you've joined us today. Prepare yourselves for an exclusive backstage pass where we will unveil the extraordinary behind-the-scenes happenings, bringing you live updates as we ramp up to the Vara Grand Showcase on the 26th of this month, as well as the highly anticipated launch of the groundbreaking Vara back office. As I mentioned last week, the sheer magnitude of activity behind the scenes is mind-blowing. And with that, we're seeing impactful change. We're at the forefront of innovation, pushing boundaries like never before, and it's all made possible by the ingenious mind of our very own in-house innovator and chief game architect, legendary Dominik Obojkiewicz. He has fearlessly dived into uncharted territories, blazing a trail of unparalleled innovation on the Bitcoin Lightning Network. It's all going to revolutionize the gaming industry as we know it. Dom and his remarkable team have been working tirelessly, and I cannot wait to reveal their achievements to you. Welcome back, Dom. It's been a minute since we did this last. We were sitting in a room talking shop.
Always fun to talk shop.
Oh, great stuff. I think the purpose of today is really to give the network and our audience a deeper dive into what's going on behind the scenes with Starvara, the breakthroughs that we've had on the Bitcoin side, layer 2, which is really exciting. And this is just going to be an open conversation between us, but it's good to be here.
Excellent. I'm really excited to share all the breakthroughs. I think there's so much going on. It's really a question of where to begin.
Yeah.
Everything from our mobile first approach to layer 2 to the developments of the Battle Royale. So.
But I wanted to start with a little bit of nostalgia here, going back, I think it's going back 6 years where we first met.
Yes.
Back then in 2018. This is before I listed my company on the ASX. And you were really at the forefront of crypto gaming before crypto gaming was even a thing.
Yes.
Can you just talk to us a little bit about your game BitCards and, the timing of BitCards when it was really just before CryptoKitties and Axie Infinity came out? It's really an interesting story.
Yeah, so actually BitCards is a huge wave of nostalgia. Thanks for bringing that up. It reminds me of those good old days. No, so essentially what we were doing is we were experimenting with how to put games on the blockchain. And back then Ethereum had just launched, their token standards weren't really in place yet. And there was one main token standard everyone was using at the time, which was the OmniLayer protocol, which was actually an evolution of colored coins. So now everyone today will know OmniLayer through USDT, because USDT actually started with OmniLayer, even though you can get them on other chains nowadays. But effectively we thought, okay, we want to make this trading card game, we're going to put it in the blockchain, and we put all these cards on the blockchain, and we did this right before the 2017 bull run.
Yeah.
So transaction fees were about 10 cents transaction at the time on Bitcoin, and then they spiked to like $6, $7, $10 in that all-time high, and that kind of shut our our opportunity down because it wasn't viable to sell booster packs for $5 that have a couple cards in when it's costing you $7 to send it, which actually kind of ties directly into what we're doing with layer 2 now. So it's all linked in a grand way, which is very exciting.
It truly is an amazing story. And I remember back then, I was very focused in the esports sector. We had just sold our company in the US, and I remember us having a conversation trying to get you to join forces back then. But looking back, retrospectively now, timing is everything. And 100%. Now fast forward 5 years, we're in this unbelievable position in the market now with truly game-changing innovation that you're working on with layer 2, and you're combining that with Starvara, which is our flagship game. Endless possibilities. So let's talk brass tacks. We've been in development of the system going on 3 years now. You started this off in the US where you were building out the back end of the system, the networking technology, which was really the genesis of the project. Started with Pixel Boy, and then moved on down the ranks. I know you've released a number of successful titles, but I'd like maybe just for the audience just to give a bit of background on that progression from where you started and the culmination of where we are today and what that means for the Starvara product.
100%. So to really talk about the genesis, I was building Pixel Boy in my final year of high school. That was kind of when I started developing that, and I took that project into university where I was studying computer science and game design, and then eventually I released that game, which was kind of a single player game on Nintendo consoles and on Steam consoles, and was the beginning of me learning how to put games out there. And then from then I worked on Polygon, which was a first-person shooter. That's where we built our connection with Microsoft. We put that onto Xbox One. And then from there, we kind of started Damascus, which was the genesis of Team Teal in the US and the beginning of the byte streaming technology, which is our networking backend. That was incredibly exciting for us because that was, I think, our first true innovation, to speak, where we were able to achieve these amazing reductions in server costs. But again, when we were building that, we didn't quite, have the full vision or know what to do with the technology. And then obviously we met and we started talking about your plans and your visions, and then it kind of grew together into what's Starvara today. And I think it's, the sum is much greater than its parts.
Dom, so let's talk about what we've been working on behind the scenes now. I know we've pretty much been in stealth mode. We've gone through this pre-onboarding process now. We've seen some great success and adoption in our product, leading up to the two-phase launch strategy, which is now going to be the introduction of our new back-end system, and then leading into our native application, which is the launch of the game. So I think it would be good to just give some color around what's been going on in the background, the innovations, talking about the Starvara game, this change in strategy, which we think is going to be a complete game changer, where we're going to be launching mobile first. Be great to understand it from your perspective.
100%. I'm a big proponent for our mobile first strategy, and to explain what that is and the idea behind it was that I've been making games for over a decade now, and I've noticed that the toughest thing when you make a game is this process where you have an idea, you get people excited about it, and then you spend 3 years in a cave developing it. No one gets to see what's going. Maybe you leak 1 or 2 photos on Twitter, but it just, you have this problem. I mean, look at Cyberpunk, 9 years in development. They released their first trailer, and only 9 years later the game comes out. Many people forget about it. It's very difficult. And the other aspect to it is, I feel when you're doing that, you maybe have a vision 3 years ago, and then you release it, and your vision from 2017 released in 2020 gets dated very quickly.
Yeah.
So there's this component where I thought, well, if we could release the game soon on mobile in a development stage, but still playable, we could listen to the community and develop the game essentially month to month, where every month we're releasing a patch, we're committing to these updates, and the feedback from our users and our community can get put into the game dynamically. And I think that's not only going to allow us to keep the energy around the game much higher, but it's also going to allow us to build a game that might be much more finely tuned to what everyone and what our users truly want.
Wow, that sounds incredible. And we've talked a lot around the strategy and how to launch this product, and I think getting community involved with the progress of the build is the best of all worlds.
100%. I mean, especially in a crypto space, just look at what the Bored Ape Yacht Club was able to achieve with a community, a dedicated community in a crypto space. I think fostering those spaces for people to socialize and talk and engage is really paramount to what we're trying to do here.
So now if we look at the timeline around the game, we've got a big event coming up at the end of the month where we'll be doing a showcase on the updates, some of the exciting new gameplay that's to come. So let's just talk around timeline. So first phase of the launch will be mobile, and then how will that lead into your PC and console deployments?
So effectively, we're going to launch the first phase in mobile, Android and iOS. This is going to launch as a battle royale and social zone. So there will be a space station that users will be able to explore as their avatars. So they'll create the avatars, socialize in the space station, and from that space station, they'll also be able to participate in a battle royale mode where they can fly spaceships, engage in space combat, skin their ships differently as they see fit. And then we're going to kind of expand from that into the broader MMO, piece by piece, slowly adding planets, adding new solar systems for people to explore, new quest lines, new spaceships that they can get into. And then as that develops into what I would say is the alpha of the MMO, that's when we'll bring it onto PC. So in the PC version, we'll have a fully fledged alpha coming out. That'll launch with all the crypto bells and whistles there for you to use. And then as that, forms into a beta and gets, closer to the full vision, you then will come out on, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Nintendo, in a very high fidelity capacity.
It's super exciting, but I think what gets me, really jacked is the fact that we'll be able to access the game high fidelity on your mobile device right now, and we're really going to all be a part of that journey leading up to the console launch.
I really can't wait.
It's really, really exciting. Now, if we take a look at, that's on the game front, and now we go look at the innovation in the background, which really is going to be a first when it comes to gaming, also on our direct sales side. But from a gaming perspective, and when we talk layer 2, what are we doing that's really going to change the landscape?
So I really want to answer this question, and I wanted to also just give a little bit of background as to why we're choosing this path and kind of where it came from, because it has
I'm so excited about this. I think that this is really going to be something that everyone's going to be talking about very soon.
Can't wait. But essentially, this is a path that we've chosen out of the necessity and learnings, because again, we were building these games on the blockchain in 2017, 2016, doing these omni tokens, having these high prices, not being able to transact them. And we can see very clearly that gamers want to own their assets. This is very indicative from how CSGO skins are traded, the Steam marketplace, how all of these games bring cosmetics in. Fortnite is almost completely generating its revenue through cosmetic sales and battle passes. So the gaming community clearly wants it, and crypto offers you this amazing way to actually have ownership of your assets. And but the solution and the tech just hasn't quite solved the problem from a fees and scalability perspective, and that's really where the Lightning Network comes in, which is Bitcoin's layer 2, which allows you to transact Bitcoin at incredibly high speeds with incredibly low fees. And essentially what we're bringing to the table is we're really pushing for tokenization on the Lightning layer. And what we are going to be doing is tokenizing assets and transacting them on the Lightning layer so that users can own their digital assets, they can have that sovereignty that they want, and they can move them without these expensive fees and truly have self-custody over them. And I think that that's really exciting.
Let's just talk a little bit on how significant this innovation actually is and how current it is. When we talk about tokenizing assets on the layer 2 Bitcoin blockchain, what does that actually mean, and how recently was this actually achieved?
So technically speaking, it hasn't been achieved at scale on mainnet just yet. The first example of it on testnet was on the 25th of March, very recently, so that's less than 6 weeks ago. So it's really, really recent technology, and it's really coming together. And we're going to be doing it with the RGB protocol, and they've just released their version 0.10. So we're also working with their lead architect, Dr. Orlensky. So it's very exciting from that perspective.
So just drawing back to our discussion around this layer 2 innovation. Now, a lot of our networkers, leaders, all our early adopters, pioneers, founders in this business, going through this pre-promotional phase, through the starter packs, have purchased cosmetics, have purchased our nodal packs. Can we talk a little bit around the value of these cosmetics and how that applies to this in-game experience and how that value will accrue over time? And then also just talking to how the Lightning Network is going to really drive the engagement and make it the best user experience possible.
100%. So to first talk a little bit about how we are achieving high value in the cosmetics, this comes from a combination of things. So the first is our learnings in the gaming industry and how to create rarity in items, which we learned a lot from Damascus, which was this the genesis of Starvara. And effectively what we learned there is that when you create in-game items and you require a large amount of work to be done in order to create the item tends to get a large amount of value. And in fact, when I use the word work, you'll see that's very similar to proof of work, which is what cryptocurrencies and blockchains use to give value to their coins. So it's really interesting that you see similarities between back-end blockchain technology and how we're applying a rarity model to our cosmetics, which in turn means that, for example, if you have to do an in-game activity that takes about an hour to complete, and you have a 1 in 300 drop rate on a particular item, you know that that item requires 300 hours of work to create. And anything that requires work to create on this world has value. And it's really interesting because we've seen this play out with our gaming communities in practice. And we're very excited to take what we learned in a centralized gaming ecosystem and bring it to a decentralized environment, specifically because we think Lightning Network adds a whole nother dimension to this. Because the second you can trade your items, you can start speculating on them. You can start creating derivatives. You can start creating futures contracts. You can do all these crazy financial things with video game assets. You can start taking Wall Street, which used to be a club of elitists, and bring it to everyone and make it even more fun, because you're not trading stocks in a company, you're trading spaceship skins or loot boxes. And that's another component, is the loot boxes open and are unopened. So there's a very interesting market dynamic between how valuable is a loot box unopened compared to an open one.
Wow.
And there's another component where if a lot of one loot box has been open, but there are still some rare cosmetics available, then the unopened box is worth more. So there's all these really interesting dynamics that play out, and they currently in the DeFi zone, they don't have the room to breathe, and Lightning is going to enable that, because suddenly you can do all these trades, millions of them, without running into fee problems.
So is it fair to say that our system, this will be a phased approach, we'll be launching it in these various phases? Is it fair to say that we will be a first to market with a solution from a gaming perspective?
Yes, I believe we're going to be the first game to use these tokens on Lightning Network.
Great. It's at that time now where I want to go and do a deep dive on the gameplay of Starvara. We've talked around the timeline, we've talked around the strategy, mobile first leading into PC and console, but now let's discuss the kinds of gameplay and formats that we can be expecting through this first phase, and how that applies to the Vara ecosystem. Let's have a discussion around that.
Yeah, so our main focus for the first phase is going to be our battle royale. Everyone's familiar with Fortnite and PUBG and these massive battle royales. All of those are actually on ground though, where you're a soldier carrying a gun and running around. What we're offering is a space-based battle royale with dogfights, with hundreds of players, being able to shoot each other, gun each other down. You can hide behind asteroids, navigate through the field. You'll be able to collect various power-ups that can improve how your ship shoots. There's going to be loot stored by derelict spaceships that you can collect while the match is going on. As you're playing, the size of the arena is going to shrink over time. It's complete free-for-all, and it's a winner-takes-all battle.
So from a user experience perspective, through the Vara application, how would a user sign up? What is the first step then leading into the game? What would that user journey look like?
So basically, you'll first download the Vara app, which will immediately give you access to all of your back office functionality, as well as your wallet. From there, you'll be able to download the main game, which will be a slightly larger download, but once that is done, you'll be able to create your avatar. Once you've created your avatar, you'll be loaded into the social zone, which is a space station where you'll see everyone else who's currently playing Starvara. You'll be able to talk to them, you'll be able to trade with them, you can walk around, you can show off your cosmetics. If you've got an outfit or a founder's pack, you'll be able to dress differently to players. As we add new cosmetics and items to the game, you can show them off there and wear them. And then from the space station, you'll be able to view all the ships that are available in our hangar, which is quite a nice place where we're showing off some of the more exclusive
and some skins. Of these will be first edition rare ships.
100%.
On auction, on sale. This will be a big announcement that's coming soon.
Big
some of
time.
those amazing skins that we've introduced into the system.
Very much intended to challenge Counter-Strike's AK-47 that sold for 400,000. So yeah, big ups with the skins. Very excited for that. And you'll be able to then at any point jump into the Battle Royale mode, where you'll choose which ship you want to fight with. If you have a skin for that ship, you'll load in wearing your skin, so you'll be able to see your custom ship if you own one. Otherwise, you'll have the default ship, and then you'll immediately get matched with a bunch of other players and start being able to compete. We'll have a free mode where you can just play for fun, but we'll also have kind of paid tournament modes which utilize our Lightning technology in a very exciting way.
So how does the crypto and the gaming elements connect with each other? So you're signing up through the native application, you're registering your account, you get your own custodial wallet, your own node. I mean, that's an interesting point that we need to speak about.
Yeah.
Once that's established, then you download the game, and essentially the game will be conjoined with this native
100%,
application.
100%. So effectively, every Vara app is a full Lightning node. So you have the ability to connect to the broader Lightning network, open channels, do everything a Lightning node would normally do. We'll probably keep some of the functionality, behind a layer of UI just to make it as user-friendly for our users as possible. But the great thing about tying the Lightning network directly to the game is that effectively all of your in-game items, your inventory, all of your server-side storage that would normally happen on a centralized server will be handled through the wallet. So all of your items will be owned in the wallet, and Lightning Network allows us to have a game where we have thousands of items and thousands of ways that the player can gain reward that are all actually sitting on the blockchain.
Wow. And some of the other functionality we can expect through the application. So can you just talk to a little bit about the exchange functionality, the interoperability with our system and this layer 2 innovation?
100%. So one of the great things that layer 2 allows us to do is that because everyone is self-custodial nodes, we can actually facilitate a decentral exchange where anyone who's using the Vara app will be able to trade any Lightning enabled assets with anyone else who's using the app. So by de facto, the game turns into an auction house of all the in-game assets, but also our Vara tokens, our founders tokens, other tokens that we onboard. In fact, any RGB20 compliant tokens would be able to be traded at lightning speeds on this decentral exchange.
We're probably saying too much right now, and I think there's a lot more to come in the following weeks. But as you guys can see, we've made incredible improvements and innovations with our product, which really is making true on the promise of creating a world first in direct sales and gaming and blockchain, all converging into one channel, which is truly exciting. I think lastly, I want to just touch on this battle royale concept, which goes into this whole new world of earning opportunities for the network, which we will be disclosing in the coming weeks, this amazing update. But just to talk around the gameplay from a battle royale perspective and some of the ship skins, some of the ships that we're going to show you right now that we've been working on that you'll be able to access as a networker.
Yeah, so from a battle royale gameplay perspective, all the bells and whistles you could imagine in a space combat simulator. You can shoot other ships down, you can have missile launchers, you can be able to drop mines down that people will be able to run into, you'll be able to barrel roll to dodge out of the way of lasers with precise timing. Again, there's going to be well over 100 people that are going to be fighting in these tournaments. It's going to be a free-for-all. The arena is going to slowly close over time, so you're going to have this kind of dynamic fight that's going to start quite spread out and culminate in this kind of final battle, which will have then one winner. And that's kind of the core gameplay.
And that's just the start of this Starvara metaverse, the Starvara multiverse that we're creating here, over 100 solar systems, which we ultimately want to achieve.
100%. I mean, the main reason we're putting the battle royale in or doing the battle royale is it's very fun. It's very much stage one, step one in this whole journey, because the goal is to build this out into a broader MMO metaverse play, where there are many game activities to do, where there's a whole exploration of the universe, where there's thousands of items players can earn and trade.
So that means we'll be able to earn with crypto, playing battle royale in our Starvara game.
And be paid out instantly.
So Dom, this has been, I can say 20 years in the making from my side. We've known each other for a long time now. We finally joined forces over the last couple of years. We're partners in this business. And maybe I just want to get your view on the future. Where are we taking this business with the current innovations that we're exploring right now? What are the possibilities?
It's so cliche to always say, but the possibilities truly are endless. But I'd say if I could, see the biggest blue sky, I would think that what we're doing is going to lead to Lightning Network and these technologies becoming the authentication layer of the entire internet, as well as possibly, redefining how economic freedom exists to people and how people understand banking and financial sovereignty.
Wow, that's an interesting point. So we're coming from a traditional gaming background with unbelievable blockchain prowess from your side and your incredible team. Where does this lead? Is this all about gaming, or is there something else here?
I think it starts with gaming, and I think that it can become so much more, but it's also like being such an avid gamer myself, I want to live in a world where banks become more gamified and less, formal and stodgy, for lack of a better term. And I think that this is kind of the catalyst to it. I personally believe I should be able to take my video game cosmetics and use them to take a loan out, because that's collateral, those are assets. That's the kind of world I want to see.
Again, thank you for stopping by. You heard it all here first. The massive news and developments launching Vara into the future. Not only did you witness all the groundbreaking innovations Dom is achieving on the Lightning Network, but you can also expect to be battling it out in our very own Space Battle Royale in the upcoming months. And with that in mind, you're not going to want to miss out on next week's update, as Dom and I showcase for you a live, interactive demonstration of the game and its multiplayer capabilities. What the dev team has achieved is truly significant. You're definitely going to want to tune in to that. And lastly, you don't want to miss out on our exclusive launch promotional showcase on the 26th of this month. Until then, thank you and goodbye.